Welcome back to the European League of Legends Championship Series. Week 9 coming up next is going to be Giants versus Dragonborns. But first up, we're going to have to talk about the All-Stars.
Yes, well, first and foremost, the voting closes on Monday the 15th. So you guys have 2 more days to get your votes in and decide who is actually going to be in attendance. We've taken a look at the numbers, we've taken a look at the percentages, and we actually want to remind some of the guys out there about some of the limits to the team.
Yeah, of course. So first up, guys, only 3 members of a team can attend. So there's some problems right now because 4 members of Gambit are at the top of the charts right now, Wicked being the only other exception. But it does mean, of course, that the person from Gambit that wouldn't go currently, this could change, of course, is Genja, because he actually has, despite the fact he's up there with the percentage, he's actually got the least votes right now. Yeah. So Yellow Pete would go, and so it would be Gambit EG team right there. So let's just go through it right now as it stands. This could change. There's still another few days to get your votes in there, guys. So get onto lolesports.com, get your votes down. It is currently Diamond Prox at the top. Of course, there's been talk about him. We don't know what's happening there. Alex Ich currently is up there. He's just ahead of Peke right now.
Yeah, very, very close.
2% difference. 2% difference also for Wicked over SOAS right now. We saw them going head-to-head today. And we've also seen some strong words coming out from SOAS as well about not liking that 2v1 split that he had there. Support. Well, it's Edward. I mean, good. He's at 57% of the vote right now. That's miles ahead right now.
Just a small
bit. You know, despite the fact Genja does lead by 4%, it would be Yellow Pete that went, because we can't have a full team out there, because otherwise it would be Taipei Assassins versus World Elite versus Gambit versus
Curse.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's the way it works. So yeah, don't forget, 3 players per team. And in terms of who gets decided, who doesn't go, it's based on the number of votes, not the difference in percentage or anything like that. It's the total number of votes. So 3 members of Gambit, 2 members of Evil Geniuses who would be going at the moment as it stands. I think that team looks pretty strong right now. I know we've talked about the mid laners, and you were saying earlier, if Peke and SOAS go, Europe has a chance. Knowing that at the moment it's going to be Alexic and Wicked, what do you think about those matchups in comparison to what it could have been?
Well, the more important thing for me, I mean, yes, it would be great, but Wicked has proven today, and, you know, if he actually puts his mind to it, puts the practice in, puts the hours in, he is still one of the best top laners in Europe, and that is a fact. You know, he did fantastically well. He was on Zed today. His actually champion pool has expanded, which he's, you know, he said himself. He's like, people say that it's actually not as good as it is, but it's expanded. It's a lot better. So as a champion pool is huge. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it works out, because if you look at Gambit, and if you were to say, I want to replace the weakest members on the team, a lot of people would point towards Darian, because mainly for the fact he's the guy that spearheads all the fights. He's the guy that sometimes is split push until he gets caught out. It's a fact. It happens. But that's, you know, the style of play that Gambit want him to play, the role he has to play. So Wicked, if you think you replace Wicked with that, could be very different. Could be very different. And now you're also looking at Yellow Pete over Genja. Well, Yellow Pete and Edward. How would that work? Because mixing up a duo lane is never good.
Okay, first of all, it's going to be almost identical. Yeah. Because Yellow Pete and Genja,
very similar style.
Both play that sort of passive, that farming, that defensive play style. I actually quite like the idea of having both Alex and Wicked in that mid and the top lane, because I feel that in the 1v1 matchups, if they have a straight up head-to-head ego versus ego, man versus man battle, I think they have a slight edge over the likes of SOAS and Xpeke, because they're more team fight focused, they're more map aware and more present on the map, if I can draw a comparison to playstyles in that route.
But there's one big problem that Europe has that nobody else honestly has, and that's the language barrier. Nobody. The Americans have got no problem there. The Chinese will have no problems there. I know there's different dialects of Mandarin, but there's still Mandarin at the end of the day. Taipei Assassins won't have any problems with Taipei Snipers, which I'm guessing it is. I don't know what the voting's going like over there. Korea will never have a problem. But we're talking full-on Russian players versus a Danish and a German.
Yep.
So how would that work? Who knows?
Smart ping.
Smart ping.
Smart ping is how you communicate.
is how we work out. So, nevertheless, the last match of the day is on the way, and the players are ready. So let's pass over to Joe and Jason.
Thanks a lot, guys. So we're about to bring you our final game of the day with the Dragonborns taking on the Giants. Both of these teams, a bit of an understatement here, are in need of a win as we move ever closer to that relegation stage. And this will be the final time in the season that these two sides will actually meet. Currently, of course, the Giants are leading the head-to-head 2-1. But to be honest, Jason, with everything on the line here, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, very true. And this is going to be a very interesting match. We have a clash at the bottom of the table, but we're looking to see as a team to fight their way out to get out of that 7th and 8th place. Dragonborns looked so solid earlier. We're both talking about it in that little bit of a break. They just look like a completely different team.
Yeah.
And we were happy to see. It was really refreshing to see them, giving it their all to really get back in the game. And of course, the pressure on both teams must be insurmountable. Your whole LCS career is on the line here, and if one team doesn't step up and claw their way out of the bottom two, then what the teams work so hard to attain will be gone.
Yeah, all gone, and that's, what they're fighting for here, their livelihoods, in a way. So let's take a look at the two lineups that we're going to be seeing in our final game of today, starting with the Spanish Giants. They have, of course, Samax, Morden, Exeter, Jimbones, and Babetta.
Of course, over on the Dragonborn side, on the red team, Yamato Cannon, Maluno, Shushe, Hosan, and Movert.
So let's go more in depth then and have a look at the key players for both teams. We know that they're both in need of a win here.
Yes.
And their AD carries in particular probably going to be an instrumental part of this. Let's have a look at the AD carry for Giants, of course, is Jimbones.
Well, Jimbones currently has the second lowest amount of kills out of all AD carriers in Europe. That's really a big statement right there. But his opponent for this match, Hosan, is the only one with less still. So that kind of gives you an idea of where the AD carries are at. Is Ken has been drawing bans all season long, which has been forcing a fallback on other AD champions. Usually this tends to be Misfortune, Ashe, but they haven't been as big of a playmaker as Kennen has been. However, he might be able to take advantage of the overconfidence of Yamato Cannon, and if the lane swaps actually do happen, he might be able to carry his team. But then again, we saw Yamato Cannon earlier today, played exceptionally well.
Yeah, the bottom line is that Dragonborns have stepped things up here already today.
Yes.
And talking about Dragonborns, let's have a look at their key player for this, their AD carry, Hosan.
And of course, Hosan has become known for pulling out some amazing plays against teams, but statistically, like we said before, he is the worst AD carry in European LCS with 59 kills and 76 deaths. But just like pulling out his amazing plays, he's also pulled out some crazy lane combos with the Nidalee Soraka lane. And last week, he also played AP Nidalee in the mid lane, having Shushe play the AD carry role. And also, just like Jimbones, he is always the focus of at least one ban, and that is Draven. He has shown how competent he is with the other AD carries, but hasn't really been as effective with them.
So, before we get into the game, Giants and Dragonborns, of course, are both fully aware of how far down they are, down the ladder they are this season. And when we asked them about the game, they both focused on opponents from previous matches that were in those high-profile spots, the high-profile teams. So, to speak here in the LCS. If both teams, I guess, have done their research, we're going to have to find out who comes out on top.
We have had some really close games against Giants. They're currently the bottom two with us, so it's really important for us to beat them.
Giants have Gambit's number for some reason. Giants is the only team that managed to beat Gambit twice now in both their games.
Hosan está a buen nivel y para mí es un jugador muy bueno, pero con tantos cambios en el equipo les cuesta adaptarse un poco y encontrar su juego y por eso están perdiendo tantos partidos.
Both us and Giants are in the 7th and 8th place right now, so this game between us is really important.
So we heard there how Dragonborns, with the new roster, need to find their playstyle. The ironic part of that is we saw them taking on Gambit in Game 1 today, and they seem to have found something that works out for them.
I completely agree with that. I was thinking that exact same thing when we were looking through that video. And the thing is, can Dragonborns hold on to it, though? I mean, they've been really up and down throughout the entire season, but now that they finally got some sort of up right there, can they grab onto that and use it to pick up their first win out of the last 14 games?
Well, they definitely need a win here, that's for sure. We're going to be moving into the bans. We've already heard about Draven and Kennen. I think we can safely say they're going to be the bans, as they are ban 1 and 2.
Yes, they are. We do see Kayle also being targeted over on the Giants side. I wouldn't be surprised to see an Elise ban to take that away from Morden, or maybe a Castan to take it away from Exeter. But then again, Dragonborns have last pick, and that's typically when you see that Castan come in as the last pick overall. However, Castan will be taken away.
Yep, Cassadin banned out there. And what will Giants ban as their third? And it will be a Thresh. They don't want Mover in there. Although I've not been super impressed with what we've seen from Mover so far, I have to say. But Thresh is another one of those game-changing champions.
Yes, he is. And we also see Elise being taken away from the Giants side with Dragonborns. We do see Jarvan being hovered over, but I was looking at it and I was like, Elise is left, or sorry, not Elise, Zyra's left open, and we've seen Babetta play a phenomenal Zyra the past 2 weeks. He's done such a great job. But it looks like Jarvan will get locked in, so Morden will most likely be on him. I'm not going to say it will be, a matter of fact, because we have seen Jarvan play in the mid lane out of Froggen, but also Ocelot, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, because of course, talking about that Zyra, we've seen it in both the middle and support role, and Giants seem to like to bring it out fairly early on in the picks to throw a bit of a curveball at their opponents. One champion that was left open here, though, was Zed, and we know that Yamato Cannon can play Zed. Speaking of Zed, we see Zed and Kha'Zix on top of that. That is a very deadly team right there. That's got to put a little fear into Giants. I can hear Demon just going, ooh, because that is such a heavy damage composition right now to Dragonborns. Yeah. So you're probably going to have Shushay on that Kha'Zix in the mid lane, Yamato Cannon, as we saw him earlier against Gambit in that top lane with Zed. But Giants, they're going to need to build some sort of tankiness here to really go up against this team, because if you give Kha'Zix that one reset, he will get a, well, as we saw earlier with Alex, or last week, he'll get a pentakill. Yeah, jumping around, getting all the kills. So Varus here right now looks like it could be Jimbones' choice with the Lulu. So no Zyra as we maybe thought coming out here from Giants side of things. They want to have that Lulu to try and protect what they've got there in the backline. I like that pickup actually more than Zyra, because you're going to need that for Zed. You're going to have to give your AD carry that sort of buffer zone to really sustain against these two heavy assassins that are going to be going head-to-head against you. And I'm also curious to see what Jimbones will actually use as summoners on top of that, most likely Flash Cleanse or maybe even Flash Barrier. But we do see Nats being sent on, which we know Melino can play. It looks like he finally found his groove again with the team. We saw in the first 2 weeks on Dragonborns side, he didn't really have the synergy with the team just yet, but as it went on, he just, like, all of a sudden just a switch went on in his head and they just knew how to play together. And on top of that, Misfortune as well. So 3 very heavy damage dealers out of Dragonborns, but there is a downside to that. They are going to be very squishy, and if anyone on Giants can pick them off, that goes a lot of damage. If they can survive that burst that comes out initially, they'll be looking very good in a team fight. So let's have a look then at the final 2 picks here for Giants. Going to be a top and a mid laner by the looks of their setup currently. And Ashen would, of course, fit perfectly into that top lane. And there is a Twisted Fate, which we know Extermin really likes to play. I'm actually looking at that, and I was like, I think a Rise pick would actually be pretty good as well, because we know how strong Extra can play on him, and you need that sort of tankiness to help out your team. Not to mention the CC, you can give your AD carry a chance to get away. But it looks like he is also Jimbo sitting on Diana, which we've seen Extra play. Done a very good job on him, but that's an assassin versus a team full of assassins, so it might not work out in the end. But Shen being locked in as well, so we talked about having that buffer for Jimbones to survive against the burst that comes out of Dragonborns. That will also aid that. So, Dragonborns final pick here. We've got Kha'Zix and Zed most likely for the top lane and the middle lane. Nasus for the jungle. The Misfortune in there, and I'm wondering if Dragonborns are going to pull some funky pick out here as the last one, which, you know, it's not that often that we see a support left until the last pick. A Leona would be a very nice pickup, because you can lock down Giants, you can make it so Jimbones can't get away from you. Also sets up your assassins to get into the back line. Maybe even Zyra, just someone with some sort of CC to get you in there. A Terra could work out even pretty well, since you're against a pretty heavy AD team at this point. But Mover still just kind of discussing with his team, as you can see on your screen, what he wants to go for. And I have to say, a Leona would probably be the best pickup here. Well, it looks like it's going to be a Sona from this point of things, which Mover, you know, we've seen him play a lot of. We know that he can bring the goods, let's say, with that Sona. The crescendos, again, though, as per usual, when you see a Sona in there, if they're not on point, you can lose fights pretty heavily. Yes, you can, and it's going to really synergize well with that Misfortune. If you get that nice crescendo into a bullet time, into the resets for Kha'Zix, which is going to happen over and over, you're going to have a very easy team fight ahead of you. But the problem is, will you have the synergy? Will you be able to pull that off? Right now, Hosan with like, Revive. I'm not going to fall for that one. Barrier Flash is definitely a more likely combo. We see that Hosan likes to fight with Barrier, likes to bait that whole Barrier fight out. This time around, Jimbones will have that slight difference between the supports, both with the Flash, but we see Babetta with an Ignite and an Exhaust on movement. I don't agree with that. You need some sort of exhaust here, Babetta, because you have to stop Zed. Like, when he gets into your AD carry, you need exhaust before that ult that comes off. You need to exhaust potentially Shushay, and we don't see even one on the Giant side right now. Well, that may change here in our final few seconds. There you can see on your screen Jimbones and Babetta going to be definitely instrumental if they're going to have a chance to win this game here. And it is a bottom of the table clash, 7th versus 8th. Two teams who are in desperate need of those victories coming in towards our final week here. Of course, that will be next week, week 10, which is a super week, which means loads and loads of games to finish out the season.
I think 20, if I'm not mistaken, which we're going to have a really fun time casting because there's going to be so many changes in the standings that really anything can happen. There is always a chance for Giants or Dragonborns to get out of that bottom 2 and kind of hold on to that LCS spot right now. And, we say it's a bottom of the table clash, but, this is probably one of my most look forward to games because this is where it's really going to come down to, like, which team is going to fight for it? Which team is going to fight for their LCS career right now? And we're going to see as the game happens.
Well, one interesting note about Giants, we've seen them when they've been down and out of games, when they've thought, okay, 20 minutes has gone, we've lost this game.
Yes.
They've surrendered. They've been pretty much the only team, actually, that have willingly just thrown that surrender out there, knowing that they're probably not going to be able to pick up a victory in game, which I actually admire about them as well. I mean, especially if you've got games to follow on after that one, it can be a good thing to add in. But we are in game here for Giants versus Dragonborns, 7th versus 8th, the final time that these two teams are going to meet each other here in the first split of the LCS. Talk us, Jason, through level 1.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see either team be very aggressive here based on their, just ignoring their whole composition because you got to pull something off here. I mean, you have nothing to lose at this point unless you're going to lose a 6-pointer game, which is, I guess, the big thing. But we are going to see Giants head over towards the enemy jungle, and they might actually be trying to make a play here.
Oh, Nasa's waiting in there, which obviously at level 1 he's not going to do too much with, and the flag comes right down on top of him there. Actually, the rest of the Giants are coming into that one. Malunu keeping his distance from the taunt. He's like, I'm just going to stand exactly as far as that taunt is away from you so that you can't lock me up, and Giants could maybe secure that first blood. But in the end, they do decide to back away from that one, and to my knowledge, I can't see, but I don't know, there wasn't a ward put. Oh, there was a ward. I'm telling the lights in the curve bush there by red.
Yes, and they just want to kind of spot where Maluno's going. I'm pretty sure that they already noticed that being in there. But obviously he's going to go for that standard start of taking that red, going into blue, and then potentially ganking a different lane.
So, standard starts here by the looks of things. Seems like we're going to have the double lanes against each other with Lulu Varus starting off down by the Golems and the Wolves start for Misfortune Sona. Junglers, as you can see on your screen there, Morden going to be kicking off with the Wolves. And on the top side, actually, it will be Maluno's Nasa starting off with Golems.
This could be a really crazy bot lane. We're going to have to actually keep an eye on that because both teams are going to hit level 2 around the same time. And there's going to be a lot of action happening with them going head-to-head. And it's a smart play with them to actually take those Wolves, knowing they will be going bottom lane against this combo.
Well, we know that Hosan, when he hits level 2, he likes to go for it. He is a very, very aggressive player. Almost the opposite to what we see on some teams where the AD carry here in this instance is hyper-aggressive. And I think Movet sometimes has trouble keeping up with what Hosan's planning in his mind.
And you're seeing both AD carries push the lane very quickly. They're just trying to get that early level 2. As you see it happen, Hosan is going to be a little aggressive here. Dodges the Glitter Lance, but that's exactly what we're talking about because now Jimbones is denied from his level 2, and he can be able to deny a lot of CS, a lot of experience.
Well, let's see if Hosan can put down the pressure from that one. Of course, the supports both still at level 1 here as Movet is starting to go in there. The pressure comes on towards Jimbones. Will they force anything to be used here? Double look will land on Jimbones there in the final. And they're not going to force a flash. They're not going to force a barrier. But what they are going to force is a recall from the bottom lane of Giants.
And that is not good. That is going to have an effect on this entire game as it does go on. Having an AD carry be taken that low and being forced to back so early is just going to... It's going to put so much pressure on him to kind of get back in the game because now Dragonborns can even dive him under that turret because he will still be level 1 at this point. They're still trying to freeze that lane as much as possible, and it's not looking good for Jimbones right now.
Not the start that he was looking for, that is for sure here, as he comes back with a pot. Just a single pot at the end, obviously to add into that Doran's Blade that he did start with. There actually was Morden coming in towards the middle. We'll see if he can sneak in here for a bit of an attempt on first blood here towards Shushay, and in the end, I think he realized that he wasn't going to be getting too much of that one and will back away. Maluno doing a similar thing from the bottom side of the jungle as again Hosan going very aggressive in on towards Jimbones. Will happily chip away on Babetta as well and just saying, you are not coming into this lane.
And what this does is it forces the jungler of Giants to defend. He has to interrupt at that bottom lane or they're going to fall even further behind. He has to do something. So you see him coming down right now. We do see Milo not going to be spotted by Ward in that try, but she's going to try to go for a gank here.
Yeah, here we go. Maluno coming around. There is the Wither being put into position as they try and turn things around. And you saw that Morden, he couldn't come in from that top side. He would have been isolated. And with that level 3 misfortune, could have ended up dying.
Yes, very true. And now with him being down in that bottom lane, it pretty much gives free reign for Shushay and for Yano can just be hyper aggressive in their lane because they know the jungler won't be there. He has to interact with that bottom lane and will create such an advantage for them.
Here is Hosan pushing in once again. Jimbones, by the way, still level 1 as he finally does hit level 2 there. That shield from Lulu going to be instrumental in keeping him healthy enough here to stand and get those last hits onto the minions because they're not scared of going in. There's another double up lands onto Jimbones, and again, he hits that recall key. But here we are going to see Jarvan coming around this backside. Let's see what he can do. There's the exhaust coming down. Hosan does have flash and barrier as he flashes away. The ignite is burning, but better going in there. His barrier used. Jimbones very low as Movet turns around. He forces his barrier, and that will be no kills, but summoners burn all over the shop.
Yes, very great, very perfect job out of Hosan to really survive that because he was against a red buff Morden and he flashed that knock-up, was able to escape right there, blowing every cooldown, but still, you gave Jimbones that possibility to get back in the game. He's going to get the levels, the much-needed levels right now, and that was a great play by Morden to really realize where they were hurting and really put some pressure there.
So let's have a look at the other lanes. We've been focused on this bottom lane because it has been so interesting. Is Samux here and Yamato Cannon going to go head to head. The Wither is down. The flash used there out of Samux, and Yamato Cannon going to be quite happy with the fact that his lane opponent doesn't have an ignite, doesn't have a flash available. As Shushay goes in on towards Exeter there, and he's not quite the squishy target that we often see coming up against the Kha'Zix in this mid lane.
Yeah, but the CS is like dead even when we have such melee champions in the middle lane, but Shushay should be able to outscale him a little bit though. Exeter, once he hits that level 7 mark, he's going to be all over Shushay as Maluno's sitting by the side trying to go in for a gank, but as you see, Morden will be coming in from behind him, but will he throw the flag in there to actually give him that vision?
Oh, this could actually be dangerous here for Maluno, as actually in the end it's Extermin who's going to take a lot of damage from this one. Jumps back in towards Shushay, but the ignite was burning. First blood comes out here for Maluno. He turns around and hits Morden a couple of times, and that will be first blood coming over to Dragonborns, to the jungler, but an assist on Shushay as well.
And the thing was, that was a perfect timing out of Exeter. Like, that was a great play out of him. He was level 6 before Shushay, but it just didn't really expect Maluno to be there, got caught a little bit off guard, and ended up going down, but that was a perfect time out of him. Shushay didn't have his evolved W, but still, we have Maluno pick up that first blood, getting that assist over to Shushay now, going to be able to pick up even more items when he does back. He also had the red pot available if he needed. Yeah. So, great play overall by Dragonborns.
Which kind of surprised me that he burnt his flash for that one. Obviously wanted to avoid using that red pot up until this point. He'll have that for next time around, of course. Now, this bottom lane again, you can see Jimbones and Mabetta forced to back away and farm the golems here. They were again taking a lot of damage from an AD carry, which is now 2 levels above them, and that will soon be 3 levels above here, as Hosan is just a couple of creeps from hitting that level 6 mark.
If we have Dragonborns hit level 6 before Giants here and do land a nice crescendo, they should be able to open up a kill on a Jimbones, as his flash is currently down as well as Babetta. They won't have that little ultimate to help survive. And it's just overall Dragonborns, that's a perfect play out of their bot lane. They know exactly what they're doing, and we'll see if the rest of their team can really do as well as they are.
Oh, I'll give credit to Jimbones there. He's actually done a lot of work in terms of picking up the CS right underneath his turret, knowing that Hosan could come in and have a go. As we see Mover being aggressive, there is the bullet time coming out. Jimbones saunters away from him, but better the next target. But again, they are forced to back away and recall and get out of that lane.
And we'll see what Dragonborns does with this, because they could go for the turret if they wanted to easily, but if they take it down early on, it gives Jimbones the opportunity to go for some free farm to finally catch up a little bit. As you see him harassing down that turret, but they're denying huge waves against Giants right now. Morden will be able to pick up a little bit of the experience though. And that was a good job. It was good positioning by him to be there. Unfortunately, he was arrived a little bit late, and Jimbones did get forced out.
That is the red buff for Maluno, who, you know, he had that presence in the middle lane that gave him that first blood kill, which is always good. He's got the Spirit Stone from that one, cloth armor, crystalline flask, plus boots as well. So he's well on his way at this stage of things. Compare that over to the Madrid Razor and the boots right now for these opposition number Morden. In the top lane, Zed going with that Vamp set to their Yamato Cannon plus the Doran's Blade. Samux already got the Giant's Belt and a cloth armor with boots.
And Yamato won't be able to take him head-to-head unless he gets that Brutalizer fairly early on, which is mostly going to be a farm lane. Let's just see the junglers interact just a little bit. And you touched on that Crystalline Flask on Maluno. It was an interesting pickup because that's not what he had right off the bat. He went for that Hunter's Machete, but by giving away his move up every single time, he's able to have a lot more sustain in the jungle and we're able to provide a lot more support in these lanes.
You see Hosan double Doran's Blade, Berserker Greaves and a longsword up against Jimbones, who now has a Vamp Scepter, which is really going to help him out in this bottom lane. And as I say that, we see Hosan going aggressive once again here with Mover, who's not quite up to that level 6. There's another double up, which didn't quite work as intended.
The thing was, the reason that Hosan went those double Doran's Blades and that longsword is because he wants to keep the aggression and keep the lead that he already built up in that bottom lane instead of waiting for that BF sword. So that's what he's trying to do here. We do see Engage actually happening out of Extra right now, catching Shushe.
Yeah, they're coming in there as the Wither actually down. The knockup will come in there from the Jarvan as we are going to see a kill coming out. That was nicely played out of Giants. Really smooth stuff. Obviously, Samox did come down with the Stand United as well, and that will leave us at 1-for-1 in kills. Dragonborns still got 500 gold lead. Yamato Cannon here, though, is looking to do good damage onto that top turret.
And even with that kill, it allows the top turret and the bottom turret to be very low. So whenever Dragonborns wants, they can take those two turrets, get a lot of gold, maybe even go for Dragon off the back. We see the Crescendo hitting the
Flash
bottom lane.
Crescendo coming in. There's the bullet time, but Giants actually using their flashes to flash onto the top side and away from all the damage. Without those flashes, that was probably 2 kills right there.
Yes, easily. And the thing is, Giants are still level 5 at this bottom lane as Hosan now sitting about halfway to level 8. Even Mover is halfway to level 7 at this point. Looks like they're still not going to try to take this turret down just yet. But we do have Yamato actually sitting by the middle lane, maybe trying to go for a gank here, and maybe even trying to set up for Dragon.
Well, they are going to go in on towards Jarvan here as the Ignite is put down, and they flash from Morden to get to safety. So he wanted no part of that one. Here is Maluno going for the Dragon as well.
That's a play out of Diamond Prox's book right there. Popping the ultimate just to shred down that Dragon. Great job by Dragonborns to push Morden out of the lane, or actually push him back into base just to heal, and then pick up a free Dragon right after that. So now they have a nice little bit of a goal lead. They still have those turrets if they do want to take them. And Hosan sit on about 900 gold right now, not enough to really pick up anything just yet, as he does complete that Brutalizer. So if Jimbones wasn't having already a hard enough time, his armor's not really going to mean anything to Hosan.
Yeah, exactly. And those double Dorans and the Berserker Greaves really added in there for the push on the on that lane as well. So let's see how that one all works out. This top lane, of course, you've ignored it a little bit because it's been a bit of a farm fest up there, a bit of damage exchange, and now that could change with Extermin coming across. Flash away from Yamato Cannon, but can he be saved? The Wither onto Extermin, but there is the Q landing, and that will be a kill. Samox going very low, but does Maluno have the damage with Jarvan coming in there to save the day? There's the Cataclysm. They lock up Maluno, and that is 2 kills. Fantastic play out of the Giants.
Amazing play of the Giants right there. That was a great job by Extra to get up into that top lane. They knew there was no wards there, and going pretty much balls to wall there, trying to pick up those 2 kills. They do get them, and Morden, I mean, he's been doing this entire game. He's been in the right position every single time, and that's why people renown him as being pretty much one of the best junglers in Europe. Even though we haven't seen it the past couple of weeks, he's showing it right here.
Well, look at this. Shushe going to capitalize on the presence of Diana in that top lane and takes out the first turret of the game, actually, which will be in that middle lane. Giants going to get 1 back here in the top, but you can't really compare the difference between that top and middle.
Yeah, that's very true. And then also Dragonborns have the ability to take this bottom turret. Looks like they will be able to take it down here with that Superman tanking it up. So that's 2 turrets in a row, and also the top turret is very low for Giants, so we could see a nice push coming in from them. They already have that Dragon down, so there's no reason for the jungler to be towards that bottom side of the map, as it doesn't go down just yet. They're still denying even more CS away from Jimbones.
That is fantastic holding play coming out from Dragonborns. And they're going to continue to try and deny that, as we do see Hosan going in there. Hail of Arrows not quite going to keep up, as the double up will land onto Jimbones. He's lost about half of his health just from that. That's pretty insane damage, and the tower is still there.
Yeah, that Brutalizer is just really doing work.
Oh.
They're waiting for it. Do they have the Crescendo up? Yes, they do. They might be able to lock this down. There is no flash available for Jimbones.
How far are Giants going to come out? And, well, there's the Hail of Arrows into the bush.
It doesn't give vision, though, so they don't know they're still there at this point. Though he will see it just from launching it, like he will see their portrait come up.
So there's a pink ward in the top lane. Actually, Yamato Cannon wants vision of that tri-bush here. Doesn't want to be getting caught out there, as Jarvan is now on this bottom side of the map as well. Mover still waiting here But if they spot Jarvan, he needs to get away from there quickly, as he is going to get locked up. There is the crescendo coming out, but he's going to have to take one for the team here. He goes down, and that was just a surprise move in from Morden. Great play coming out of Giants to lock him down for the kill. 4-1 in kills to them now.
And Morden yet again in the right place at the right time. They already had the middle turret down, so why not visit there? Shen ultimate, I'm not sure if that was really needed. But you know what? He gets an extra assist, gets some extra gold, has his Sunfire Cape done right now. We'll have his Ninja Tabbies relatively shortly, and they're going to need that tank as the game gets into these team fights.
Yeah, and I mean, if Misfortune had got involved in there as well, that's when that Shen really could have come in handy. That could have turned into a double kill easily. So Shushay getting the blue buff. Look at this, Extermin going to be going top side of the map here. Yamato Cannon already starting to walk away, but is it going to be too late? There we see the Q landing. He's going to get pulled back in. The taunt will land from Shen as well. Yamato Cannon surely not going to escape this one. Extermin picks that one up, and now Hosan in trouble down at the bottom. The Cataclysm coming. Why is Jimbones come back into auto attack range there? He's going to cost him his life, and now Shushay is looking for the second kill of this one, and he's going to get the reset. Jumps in towards Babetta. Can he finish off the kill? Yes, he can. You're not escaping that one. Double kill for Shushay.
That was a great job by Hosan to pretty much bait them in for that, because he knew Shushay was coming. At least I hope that's what he was doing right there. And Shushay picking up that nice double kill. You see Maluno going head-to-head against Extra in the middle lane, but you know, with Yamato Ken going down the top and those kills coming in the bottom lane, Dragonborns and Giants still relatively close game.
Yeah, and Maluno's not really safe. He will actually pop his ultimate. Extermin not going to go head-to-head with him under the tower, but Maluno comes back out, and Extermin says, thank you very much, I'll have a go at this one. There is the wither and the finisher from Extermin. He has taken, I think, 5 or 6 hits there from the turret and still got a third of his HP afterwards.
That Seeker's arm guard doing work out there, giving that extra armor. But if you look across the map, I mean, the top side of the map for Giants has been constantly pushed up. They've been just trying to keep that top lane shoved in. As we see, Hosan flashing in.
And is he going to get the kill? No, not quite able to pick that one up. And that will mean Extermin gets away crucially with the double buffs there. That's what Hosan was after.
Yes, I was. And the thing is, that flash being down now, though, that gives Giants the opportunity to go for a team fight whenever they want. Dragon will be up in about a minute, and that might be the key for them to go in, because you know, without having Hosan having that escape mechanism, and with having Yamato Cannon not necessarily farmed out, not necessarily needs, they only have to focus on that Shushay and Hosan combo.
Well, less than a minute for that Dragon. Hosan going to be headed home after he gets out of range of Morden there. Doesn't want to risk getting turned on. And goes into the bush to make sure that recall will be successful. Jimbones, in terms of CS, is still a country mile behind here. Almost 50 CS in that one. Middle lane, it's a lead for Shushay. He's 2-1-1 compared, though, to the 3-1-2 of Extermin.
And speaking of middle lane, we see a last booster picked up on Shushay as his first item. It's an interesting build. It's typically not what you would necessarily go as your first major pickup for a Kha'Zix. Usually it's a Bloodthirster, but considering Samix has so much armor built up already with that Sunfire Cape, with that Warden's Mail, it's going to help out quite a bit.
There is Shushay, thanks to that pink ward, getting rid of vision. Samux doing what a Shen does best and pushing this top lane out completely. His Stand United will be available in just a little moment.
And the thing is, we have 3 members of Giants heading over towards that top side. They're going to trade the Dragon for the turret, but that is a favorable trade for them.
Yeah, inner turret here on the top lane will be taken. They will definitely lose out on this Dragon. We can see that Dragonborns already sending a couple of men back here to make sure that the Giants don't push any more of an advantage from that one. And despite, you know, having a turret lead here as well, Dragonborns, they're not massively in the gold lead. It's 2,000 right now. They're behind in kills, and Giants, because of that, can make plays happen still.
And the thing is that the people that are fed over on the Giants side are the mid lane, who's going to be building OZONE very soon, which he's going to need in these fights. You have a Shen who's going to be very tanky now because of that, and Jarvan, who already has, you know, Boots' ability to interact, Lock of the Iron Solari, and then Madrid's Razor. So the people on Giants that need to be fed right now are getting fed. Like, Jimbones doesn't need to be fed at this point because he needs to survive in the entire engagement. But on Dragonborn's side, Monacan doesn't have any kills just yet. Hosan only has 1 kill and assist. And Shushay, he's the real person you have to look for to really make the plays now, because he has to get those resets or the entire fight for Dragonborns is going to go south.
There is Shushay, Hosan, and Mover just clearing up that middle lane and just trying to push that one out. Of course, they did take that outer turret in the middle lane a little bit earlier on. We're 18 minutes into this game at this stage, And still, I mean, how much of a worry is that for Jimbones now, down in this bottom lane? He's 50 CS behind them, is Fortune. If you compare their items, well, I guess my point is you can't really compare their items.
Right, and the thing is that you have to look how the game's kind of progressing on, is that HOSONE, he's freezing the lane. He's not trying to push it, like, really hard. He's not trying to shove it into Giants. So typically if you do that, you want to go for like a mid push, you go for a top push. It really puts some aggression somewhere else, because then that denies a lot of CS, a lot of experience over to their other team's AD carry. But it's allowing Jimbones to roam around his own jungle. He's been picking up double golems every single time they're up. He's been interacting with other lanes, and that might potentially be a mistake on Dragonborn's side, but still, like you said, 50 CS behind. He doesn't have an item completed just yet, and if Dragonborns can get in a couple of team fights here, they'll still have no damage on Jimbones.
Morden coming in from the top side. Juche, he's got the jump, which helps a lot when that Cataclysm comes down onto you. See if Diana can get involved there. The Wither coming in. That'll be a turret hit coming down on towards Exterminate. It looks like Giants want to get rid of that outer turret in the middle.
And just as we're talking about HOSONE freezing that bottom lane, Giants are taking advantage of that. Jimbones just came up to the middle lane. They're pushing that middle turret. Now HOSONE's going to have to come back and help out. But because of that, now the lane's going to be pushing into Jimbones to be getting a lot of free farm when he does decide to back. And if they can get this turret, a lot of extra gold to help out for his item build.
Look at Samox again pushing that top lane out. He's 2-0-3 right now. And really building up that farm. Obviously, Yamato kind of not doing a bad job either. He's got that Blade of the Ruin King in there with a pickaxe as well.
It's all going to come down to if he's going to have enough damage to pick off Jimbones. Obviously, we have the Zonas on extra, so he can just get out of that ultimate damage anytime he wants to. And then Jimbones has, Lulu ultimate to keep him alive. He has Shen ultimate to keep him alive. So the whole plan of him being able to assassinate someone's not going to work out. But if he can get someone low enough that Juche can pick up the kill, or they can just kill someone just period, then he'll get those resets. He'll have the damage he needs to really turn the fight.
So Giants going to be pushing out this mid lane once again. Still no sign really of Jimbones being able to catch up to that total in creep score that we are currently seeing. And there is a Black Cleaver as well done for Misfortune. And the thing is, they're mind gaming them a little bit because of that push mid lane. It forced HOSONE to back off and really defend, but it's allowing them to pick up this turret potentially in the bottom lane to give them a nice little bit of extra gold. Extras here as well. Juche might be in trouble, Joe. Are they going to go for the dive? There's the slow that they were looking for, the jump away from Juche, but is Exter going to go in for this now? He's quite happily to force Juche away with that creep wave coming in to secure the third turret here for Giants and actually bring them level overall on turrets. Yep. Perfect job by Giants right there to know what they need to do to get back in this game. But look, I'm curious to see where it's going to kind of develop from here, because HOSONE picked up an early Black Cleaver, still has a BF sword, and Jimbones, I'm curious to see if he's going to go for Infinity's Edge as his first major buy. Well, we'll see that coming in a little while as Giants again rotate everyone around towards this middle lane. Samox, of course, has Stan United available if they need him to get involved in that push. And in the end, Dragonborns with that Zed and Nasus there able to clear out that minion wave with no problems. Samox, though, he's still pushing. I love what Giants are doing in terms of forcing Dragonborns to be reactionary, because Dragonborns are used to being one of those teams that thrives on controlled chaos. And because that's not happening right now, they seem to be a little caught off guard. But still, they are ahead in gold at this point. They do have the game in their favor currently. And Dragon will be up in about a minute 20 seconds. But that top lane, that's a major threat to them, having two turrets down. The inhibitor turret is just bare naked. They could go for it if they want. And Samox, I mean, that's exactly what he's going to do. He has a teleport to get in if he needs to. And Giants just playing this perfectly. He's going to go back in there. Juche did push that one out as far as he could without really going over that critical halfway line of the map, especially without having two turrets behind him there. You really can't afford to get too clever in that respect. As HOSONE here got the waves coming in, he's got Movet, Maluno and Yamato cannon coming in the back, and they may be able to take this one away. We see the Varus ulti, but honestly that's not going to be enough here. We are seeing pressure onto Jimbo, and Stan United used there by Samox, but Dragonborns taken in a turret and they back off. Great job by Dragonborns to realize yet again that Extra was in that bottom lane. They're like, hey, why not push this mid lane? He has to back out. We can stop their aggression, pick up that tier 2 turret. So, looking at the turrets being taken overall, Dragonborns has the advantage with just those two middle being down, since you gain so much advantage in terms of in the jungle, the sight you get as long as they put the wards down, which currently haven't put too many just yet, but great play by Dragonborns. I mean, they're just taking what Giants are doing and reacting to it perfectly. Yeah, and CS is their favor for Yamato can in the top lane. Middle is even as well, and we can see the difference in gold. Obviously Shen is slightly ahead overall because of those 2 kills and 3 assists that he already has here, thanks to good old Stan United assists coming in from earlier on. Between the two AD carries, 2,000 gold difference between Misfortune and Varus.
And right now we're seeing kind of a stalemate kind of build up, and that's going to be due to the wave clear over on Dragonborn's side. So you have the W out of Shushay, you have the Q out of Yamato Cannon, and you have obviously the double up out of Hosan, so you can clear those waves extremely quickly, and the Giants doesn't really have the range they need or the protection they need to, you know, attack a turret freely. They have to kind of catch Dragonborns off guard.
Oh, Shushay diving into that one. The rest of the team going to try and follow as well, as they are going to get the Wither down on towards Babetta. But are they going to try and fight this one? Maluno started to run in there with that speed boost coming out of Sona. And in the end, they decide, let's not follow up just yet.
Yeah, he also had his Ghost up on that too. So
oh, yeah, he did, Ryan Ghost.
Really wanted to chase
he's
him down.
really fast from that boost.
Like, did they get movement speed to his ultimate? Or? But yeah, like, it seemed like a little bit of miscommunication, but still in the end, they pick up the Dragon, they're going to pick up the blue buff away from Exter, and they're also going to push this top lane a little bit here.
Yeah, top lane to push down. I mean, they've got the inner turret in the middle lane, so top or bottom is obviously the natural choice for them there, especially when they've got that outer turret left in the middle, as we are going to see them catching out Samox. He lands that taunt on towards Hosan. There is going to be Shushay jumping in, but the rest of Giants trying to come around. Good knock up here, and Morden now in trouble as well as the bullet time comes across, but the rest of Giants reacting to this one. There's the Void Spikes. Manages to get this low across the board.
That was such a great bait by Hosan right there. I mean, backing right in front of Samox's face, and he got taunted on purpose because he knew Shushay was there to back him up. They had Zed on the way, were able to pick up the kill, but still Hosan has all the summers available.
Oh wow.
And as I say that, he flashes in to try to stop the back, but still, they're going to be able to get this turret now, or at least get a good chunk of damage onto it.
And it looked to me like he'd actually managed to get the damage in, as Babetta here having to use Wild Growth on himself. Yamato Cannon going to be pulled up underneath the turret there. Great ultimate out of Jimbones. The rest of the team trying to get involved. Cataclysm is on Shushay here, but can they keep him locked down? Jimbones is going to be backing up from this one, as a hail of arrows will finish him off. And that is another kill coming down for Dragons.
And just as we talk
Giants.
And just as we talk about Dragonborns getting a nice bait right there, we see Giants do the same back to him. Extra, it looks like he's overcommitted right here, might be getting caught and killed.
Can they lock him down though? That's the problem. There we see the flash out of movement to get in there. The crescendo coming in as well. This will surely be a kill. The flash was failed. He uses the Zhonya's, and well, he's shut down in the end. So he used a flash, he used his Zhonya's, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's I mean, we looked at Movert flashing.
Well, he delayed them, I suppose, while Giants are here doing Baron.
Yeah, well,
that's one thing.
It's a great call in the end. Maybe the flash missing was a little bit of a mind game as well. I'm assuming not. I'm assuming not, but still. Giants do pick up that Baron, get a nice little bit of a goldie, get that nice little bit extra oomph they're going to need in these team fights. And they do have a good amount of gold to spend on a Jimbones, who's finally he's caught up a little bit. I'm not going to say in CS, but in terms of items, as he has Infinity's Edge done, and he has 1,600 gold to spend.
While it's still 70 CS between them. We have Bloodthirster, Black Cleaver in there, and Crit Cloak as well picked up, compared to that Infinity Edge and a Vamp Scepter at this point. So we'll see how that all affects things going forward. But you have to give that credit to Jimbones, because he was, if you look back to the lane phase, it was horrible for him. He had no real chance in there because of how things went so early on. Because basically, Hosan hit level 2 first, and they forced him out of lane time and time and time again.
That's how the meta has evolved in the bottom lane. Whoever's going to hit 2 first is going to push the other one out of the lane. But you have to give a lot of credit to Morden as well then, because he did a perfect job of interacting with the bottom lane, giving Jimbones the ability to get back in the game. And if he didn't do that, you know, who knows where he would be.
Probably not in a good position, that's for sure. But if you look at the gold, you know, it's 1,300 right now between the two teams. That is definitely better than it looked like it could have been, as Dragonborns start to move their way down towards that inhibitor turret. His Extermin's going to dive right in towards Hosan. Can they get the kill coming into this one? He's used his barrier. He will fall to Samox here in the end. Extermin going to use the last second Zhonya's. Will that buy enough time for the rest of the team to do the damage? Look at Jimbones at the back. He's going to be focusing on towards movement, but he's very, very squishy here. He gets finished off by Zed in the end. That's a double kill, and that is 3 for 1. Yes, they lost their AD carry, but they've got damage from other places here, Dragonborns.
That was an amazing engage out of Giants right there. That was like the perfect engage for them, but unfortunately Dragonborns were just too strong. They're able to get the kill, able to get the resets on a Shushay. They even had Baron during that entire engagement, but they lost an inhibitor turret, lost an inhibitor, and lost a lot of gold that they could potentially have picked up right there.
Overall, they lost. I think
that's the story
the
we're making.
general consensus from that one is Xuxe going to be stealing away the red buff. And of course, that was a Baroned up Giants as well. We should definitely not forget that point of that one, as Maluno just stealing away Wraiths as well. And that will give them a decent chunk of gold to be going home with here to spend. If you look at Xuxe now, got that Black Cleaver in there, the last Whisper, which he picked up first. Muramana is now done for him as well. And he's also sat on a good chunk of gold for the next time he goes back. Giants finally trying to get rid of that pesky outer turret in the middle lane.
And we'll give a nice little bit of gold as well. And you know, you pointed out Xuxe right there with the Black Cleaver and Last Whisper in the Muramana, but he doesn't have any sort of like sustain in the fights. When you pick up that Bloodthirster as, you know, your major item with that 100 AD, you can poke a lot better, you can get in there and do a lot more burst damage. But you know, so far the build's been working out for him, and we even see the Runic Bulwark picked up on a Maluno, so he's making everyone else on his team tanky. And just sort of saying, you know, them having 3 heavy DPS champions and no real tank, Maluno's doing a good job of just trying to help facilitate that.
Well, we saw in that last one that Jimbones was really left alone at the back, and he focusing on towards mover. And if you can't kill the support in that situation, you know that you're not in the best of positions. So that needs to really change for Giants here. They need to have that damage coming out of Jimbones, as we are going to see Morden maybe caught out here down at the bottom. He's going to slide away towards the turret. Xuxe not chasing it.
The thing was about that engagement that we saw is that Jimbones, his ultimate didn't get in there in the right time, because they had a great lockdown on the entire team of Dragonborns, and we saw that Var's ultimate come in. It could have kept them locked up a little bit longer and maybe changed the tides of that fight, but you know, Giants are not out in any sort of the way, because Jimbones does have that % health damage, which can never go underestimated.
So Dragon is now up. Dragonborns making a play for it with the Oracle on both sides, as Pavetta actually puts a ward over the top side here. There are the Void Spikes coming out. Will we see a fight kicking off for this one? Imato Cannon on the top side. There is the Dragon picked up. Samek's going to land the taunting on towards Hosan, but he is not dead, and he's at the back here doing good damage. He will get hit with the Varus Ultimate, but he can still put bullet time down, as Zed will shut down Shen here. There's the jump out from Xuxe. He's managed to get himself 2 kills, but Beta will fall in the end as well. And that is a very, very quick ace coming out of the Dragonborns, and they got the Dragon.
And that's exactly what their comp is based around, picking up those kills with that high damage, or 3 high damage champions. They did it perfectly. God Dragon, just like you said, looks like they're going to try to close out the game as well, rushing down that middle lane.
I mean, they've only got Xuxe who's low here. Look how healthy they survived that fight. The rest of the team going to pile in 20 seconds really for the first spawn, and that is easily enough time for this setup that Dragonborns have got. They are going to finally end their run of misery here against the Giants. You can see how much it means to them. Good games well played, and a hug for everyone in the team, because Dragonborns were in dire need of that victory here, and for them, congratulations, because they've finally done it.
And the pressure, that has to feel so good, having it off of your shoulders finally right there. And you have to give credit that Dragonborns, we saw them earlier against Gambit, played a phenomenal game, played really well. It's like a different team than we've seen before.
Yeah.
And right there as well, I mean, Hosan and Mover just controlled that bottom lane completely. Xuxe was able to help pick up some kills roaming around, and just phenomenal job by both teams still. Even Giants played well.
Yeah, really nice play. Dragonborns, of course, ending that run of misery that they've had coming into this one. We're going to go over to the analysis desk here for one last time, where Demon and Quickshot are going to break it all down.
Yes, thank you very much, and what another great game. They keep on coming, hit after hit, as it were. Unfortunately, it is only 4 games today. Next week, Super Week, maybe we're going to be looking to have 20 games back-to-back, who knows. But another fantastic match, but this time a all-important win for Dragonborns, who are bottom of the league right now. They remain bottom of the league, but a win over Giants, who are currently 7th, is a massive win for them.
We talked about this earlier in the day, how difficult it's going to be for Dragonborns to get out of that relegation position. If they can pick up more wins against the likes of Copenhagen Wolves and against the Authority, they'll close the gap, because they're adding losses to the opponents that are directly above them. That's the most important thing. But they're the heartbreakers. They can be the ones forcing one of these teams down. And it was very, very good play out of the team. They showed coordination, they showed control, and they showed an understanding of timing on objectives, on ultimates, and summoner spells. So a very, very good play, and a marked improvement over what we've been seeing in previous weeks from the Dragonborns.
You missed one out. They showed domination in the bottom lane is really what it was all about. But the replay we have for you, it's basically the fight against a Baron up team. These are things that you always tell your teammates, don't do it, they've got Baron. Dragonborns didn't care.
No, not at all. Let's actually jump into the replay right now. It's 27 minutes on the clock, 9 kills to 5. Look at the gold, 39,000 to 40,000. The reason I've got the HUD up is I want to show you how important it is that Jimbones is not here. He's not around when the fight actually breaks out. So let's put the battle into play here, and you'll see immediately what happens is Exeter goes in, and he has an incredible engagement. Once again, I want to show you how far away Jimbones is. He's not there while the rest of the team carries on with the engagement. They get a very good Cataclysm, locks everybody in place, and here you start thinking, well, Giants have got this. They've shut down Hosan. They've picked up the kill before anything has even happened. But there is simply no damage from Jimbones. He's finally joined the party late here, but the rest of the damage threats of Nasus, of Zed, and of Kha'Zix, they simply clean house, taking out Giants members one after one after one. And Jimbones, again, not really understanding how much HP his teammates had. He jumped into that fight very, very late. He was out of position, and he just got focused on at the end as well.
Yeah, and more to the point, the moment No arrived, Movo went exhaust.
Yeah,
It was like, yeah,
exactly.
good to see you, mate.
Yeah, completely removed his damage. It was pretty much a story of the game, to be fair, because Dragonborns, they would make plays and they controlled the map, while Giants were making gank attempts. They used the Stand United and they used their Jarvan to pick up kill after kill after kill, but they didn't convert that to control, and that was the problem. They had the kill count advantage, but they were behind on gold, they're behind on objectives, and they're behind on map presence.
So it leaves us to talk about the MVP, and the man we've highlighted for this one is Hosan. I know we talk about him a lot, but really that early game dominance they had in that bottom lane. I think when we looked at it, they were level 5, the bottom lane, Nono, and...
to almost level 8.
To almost level 8 of Hosan. It was crazy.
Jimbones was like 2.5, 3 levels behind. He was, I think, 40 or 50 CS for the majority of that matchup behind. And that is pretty much what crippled that mid-game power that the Giants had to offer. They had no damage from Jimbones. He was constantly playing catch-up. And that's the reason we've highlighted him for MVP.
So that is it from us, of course, at the analysis desk for today. Thank you very much for watching. It has been absolutely amazing games. We're going to go over to Shox, of course, who is standing by with the MVP of the day. It is going to be Hosan.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Yes, Hosan, congratulations on being MVP. Now, we expect crazy stuff from the Dragonborns, but standard seems to work for you guys. So lead us through the picks and bans.
Yeah, we were just doing all the not standard stuff all the time, but we figured out that even if we deny top laner and our gets denied, we kind of get behind with that. So we just started to go 2v2 bot lane because it works for us the best. And yeah, like we take wolves, they take golems. In this game, it was really good. We didn't really have planned picks. We knew their picks and their bans, but this is the first time we didn't have our picks. We just picked our best champions. I guess it worked. But yeah, the beginning was good because we just started to zone them, forced them to back like 4 times or 5. Then again and again in the middle game. So we were really ahead in farm, and we just won.
Okay, I was going to ask you how the game went, but you answered that perfectly for me. Now, Hosan, of course, great win, great performance against Gambit as well, but you're not in the clear. So how are you going to stay in the LCS?
We're probably going to stay at 7th or 8th place, and we're just going to go to the qualifications. I think we will have to beat one team in best of 5. It's not going to be as hard as LCS, but still, I guess, hard because it's top teams, of course, like MYM or other teams like that. I think we will get MYM. So, yeah, I guess we will qualify anyway.
Okay, nice to see you in good spirits. Thank you very much, Hosan. Now, let's go over to Joe and Jason one last time to take us through today's matches and take a look at the standings.
Thanks a lot, Shox. And Jason, a fantastic day of action today. I think we can safely say Game 3, which we'll come on to in a little while, was the highlight. A very long highlight, almost an hour-long, amazing game. I'm running out of adjectives for how great that one was. But first of all, let's have a look through the entirety of today's results. Starting off, of course, with Gambit's win against what looked like a very informed Dragonborns.
Yep, and then of course following that was EG taking the win over Fnatic. EG as well, just completely changing their entire play style against Authority, losing to Gambit, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can call it from Against All Authority's side, because I tell you what, the teams that we didn't expect to do so well today have done really, really well. Starting with that Dragonborns win, EG not being informed, Fnatic have been informed, EG stomped them in that one, and that hour-long game between Gambit and Against All Authority, and of course, finally, we saw Dragonborns end that run of absolute terror that they've had in the LCS so far. And we heard from Hosan there saying 7th and 8th place, even though we've just won a game, is probably where we're going to be ending in that one. So, speaking of the standings, that leads us, of course, directly into it. So let's check out what they look like here after today's matches, starting at the top, of course, with our new first place team today, Gambit, with 2 wins for 0, 18 for 4 now. They're up there, followed by Fnatic, who is 17 for 5 after their loss today. Then we have in 3rd place SK Gaming, who had a day off today. They'll be here tomorrow at 13 for 9. And EG, who took down Fnatic in their single game at 12 for 10.
Even though with those wins and losses coming in, the only real change was in the top side of the standings. But then again, we have one more day of games tomorrow, and then we have that giant Super Week, Joe, that can really completely shuffle this around.
That can change literally everything, to be honest with you. That is a massive amount of games still to be played. But we've still got tomorrow, don't forget that. Starting at the same time and same place. But of course, if you've missed any of today's games or any games from the weeks before, you can find them along with all the recaps and stats and what have you over at lolesports.com.
And of course, you can still vote for the European All-Star team. And reminder, the polls close on Monday, April 15th, so get your votes in now.
Yeah, there's still a lot to be picked up there, that's for sure, in the All-Star voting. Still some very, very close positions, and also some not-so-close positions. Someone needs to vote for someone except Edward in that support vote, it seems. But that's it from me and Jason for today. Thank you very much, as per usual, Jason. We're going to go over one last time to Shox for some final thoughts of Saturday.
Thank you very much, guys. What an amazing day of games here again. That Against All Authority Gambit one is certainly one for the League of Legends history books. You know, you can check out the VOD of that one on lolesports.com. And as for us, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific. And the matches are going to be the Giants taking on Evil Geniuses, Fnatic battling the Dragonborns, Giants against All Authority, and closing out the day with a big one also, Gambit versus SK Gaming. Thank you very much from all of us here in the studio for tuning in, and we'll see all of you tomorrow.